Buongiorno, good afternoon. Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you today. Thanks for the invite. Today, I want to share with you some thoughts about people, about these human beings, these people in love with people. The way I like to call the innovators, the entrepreneurs, the people that are changing the world with their ideas, their passion, their way of working and their way of behaving. In this world that is global, hyper-technological, hyper-accelerated, we need people more than ever. And we need people to think, behave, and act in ways that we didn't witness in companies, big and small, around the world for many, many years. And the reason is that the world is changing. It's changing with an acceleration that we never experienced before in a radical way. There are many things that are changing the way we build brands, we create companies, we drive business and innovation in general. Today, anybody, any of you right here, right now, can come up with an idea, get easy access to funding for that idea, much easier, in a much easier way than 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Through the proliferation of funds, incubators, companies are hunting for the next big idea, that are willing to invest in your idea to build the next company, the next startup, the next multi-billion company in the future. The cost of manufacturing is going down, driven once again by technology, and driven also by globalization. And then finally, we can reach people, the end users, the consumers, the customers out there, directly, bypassing traditional distribution in many industries, through the e-commerce platforms, to sell them products, and through the digital platforms, social media, to build our ecosystem of communication. Well, these were all the areas where big companies like the one I work for, PepsiCo, in the past 3M, the tech company from Minnesota, areas where these big companies used to build their barriers to entry, made of scale of production, scale of distribution, scale of communication. Today, anybody can come up with an idea and go compete with one of these multi-billion-dollar brands of companies like PepsiCo. And so the small and the big, the individual and the big corporations are left with just one option. You need to focus on people, once again, their needs, their wants, their frustration, and understand how to create the most extraordinary solution to those needs and wants. Products, brands, services. That's what you need to focus on. I may have an amazing product, great branding, but eventually my product is not sustainable enough, or my brand is not purposeful enough, or the service is not ideal. Well, competition will identify your weakness and will enter exactly there. So while in the past, eventually you had a dynamic balance in your industry, your product was similar to the one of your competitors, you knew by heart what your competitors were working on. You knew the patents they were registering, you knew their strategy, so it was relatively easy to compete in that dynamic balance. Today, the scenario is completely different. You need to focus on creating the most extraordinary products for your company without focusing too much on what competitors are doing, because you don't know what could come to your market in the near future. You need to refocus everything, once again, on people. Certain companies in certain industries call this focus consumer centricity. I prefer to call it human centricity. When you think about people as consumers, you define these people as people you want to sell products to. When you think of people as human beings, you focus on creating value for them, on creating something meaningful for them. You go above and beyond the moment of purchase of the product, and you really think about holistically about how to create value for them. Human centricity, by the way, is nothing else than what we, designers, call design centricity. This is what we study at school. You study how to create extraordinary solutions for people, the desirability lens, and then how to take them to market, the viability lens, the business dimension, and how to make them, produce them, the technology lens, the feasibility lens, the three lenses of design thinking. Many people think that design is all about pretty products, beautiful packaging, interesting communication, and all these outputs that you see here in this chart. The reality is that there is another dimension to design. It's the way designers think, the way they look at the problem, the way they find solutions. It's empathy, understanding people, what is relevant to people. It's strategy, understanding what is relevant to your business, to your company, from a business model standpoint, from a process standpoint, and from a culture standpoint. And then it's the ability to prototype solutions that are relevant to people and relevant to your business and your company. Translated in some, in a different way, what designers do, or what design thinking does, you don't need to be a designer to drive your company, your business with design thinking kind of approach, is all about focusing on people and creating experiences that are meaningful to them. The creation of meaning. And there are multiple ways to approach this kind of opportunity. There are 3 steps usually you take in consideration when you create products, solutions, services that are meaningful to people. The first one is you try to create something that creates a visceral relation between the user and the solution that you have. Whatever is the solution, could be a product, a brand, a service, an experience in general. It's the wow effect. You see something, it could be as simple as a piece of packaging, a limited edition packaging for a soda brand, for a snacks brand, for a water brand. It could be something that impacts you on the packaging itself. It could be the full experience, every single touch point of the brand, all the way to building an experience touching every single touch point of the brand, product, packaging, and the way you interact with the product and you talk about the product in an example like the one here in this video. Can we have the audio of the video? Can we? There is music on the video.
Drink. It's really an experience.
Let me go back so you can hear the full video.
So what is Fizz? It's a whole new way to look at soda.
This is not a drink. It's really an experience.
I'm excited to introduce you to the world of Fizz. Fizz is a whole new way of looking at soft drink mixology, which we like to call Fizzology.
They have these cool machines here called Pepsi Spires. They're already flowing now. What were you feeling? Batter up. Batter up. Then you take it over to these Fizzologists. These guys are taking the most unexpected flavors and creating the most imaginative drinks you can possibly imagine. Check it out.
They're loving getting to interact with it, what goes into it that makes it, watch something be created, and then get to consume it.
It was nice to see it made in front of your eyes. You got to do it and then eat what you made.
I love it. Really innovative.
Awesome.
It was just cool to see it all come together.
My favorite part was watching them put all the coffee.
A delicious drink.
Having a great taste.
I love it. I love the flavor.
Fizz is not just a drink, it's an experience.
It's been a really exciting day so far. As you can see, we're really flowing now. 3, 2, 1.
So the first step when you think about people is how to wow them, how to catch their attention. We're bombarded by input, by information, by things that happen around us. When you design your product, your solution, the first thing to keep in mind is how can I catch your attention? In this specific example, we're still serving sodas. It's still Pepsi, it's still 7-Up, but rethinking completely the experience, eventually changing the mix, changing the way we serve it to you, changing even the vessel itself, that is not just a normal cup, but is something different, creates, before anything else, excitement, and people are willing to try whatever new you are proposing to them. The second step is what we call the interactive relation. Is a connection that you create with products, brands, services of any kind that is both intellectual and emotional. And this is the biggest challenge that we have as innovators, is how to arrive to people intellectually. We we need to create something that functionally makes sense for them, that they need, but also how to create something that is engaging, that is pleasurable, that is enjoyable. And this is really, once again, the balance between these two dimensions is the difficult part of innovating. And in PepsiCo, we've been experimenting with many different ideas. We know that we live in a world where sustainability is more important than ever, where health and wellness, creating products that are healthy for you, is more important than ever. This is one of the multiple products we've been developing in the past years. It's called SodaStream Professional, where essentially you have a reusable vessel, a reusable bottle, with a QR code. You go in front of this machine. There is a camera with on the bottom of the screen that read the QR code or read the information you may have on an app, and knows your profile, recognizes you, reminds you how many bottles you're saving from the environment, but mostly give you the possibility to customize a perfect drink for you. Starting from water, you can add carbonation, decide the temperature, decide the flavor, the intensity of the flavor. You may have a warm drink with a hint of lime, or you may have a cold, fizzy drink with, a very strong flavor of lemon. But mostly, it gives you also the possibility to add functional ingredients, electrolytes, magnesium, vitamin B, and many others in the near future. So customization that is both emotional and functional. This is a picture of how we're using the machine, for instance, in our design center in New York City. Using similar technologies, we have been working on the brand Gatorade, the sport drink Gatorade. And there is a video that tells you what we've been working on with that technology and this brand.
Your game is our lab. Introducing the future of sports fuel. Gatorade GX, your real-time hydration coach. Gatorade GX tracks fluid loss before, during, and after training, capturing every moment of sweat, measuring electrolyte and sodium loss in real time. Fluid intake is continually monitored with on-the-fly guidance, showing you when to hydrate while pacing your intake. Analyzing your fluid balance, Gatorade GX unlocks your personal fuel strategy. Recommending fuel formulas based on your electrolyte and carbohydrate needs. Conveniently delivered through an innovative equipment system. Replacing what's been lost when you need it the most. Track, analyze, and optimize your performance. Gatorade GX, built to fuel, customized for you.
Now, this looks like an interesting video to show a vision for the future. And actually, it started like this. We started about 8 years ago with this dream of bringing wearable technologies to the world of the consumer market. The problem for a company like ours, though, is that every business that you create in about 2-3 years needs to reach a few $100 million. Else is irrelevant. With a company that has 20 brands above the $1 billion and 40 brands on top of them between 250 million and $1 billion, if you don't generate with your innovation something that is scalable, it's totally insignificant, as cool as it can be. So years ago, we had access to these technologies, the possibility to monitor your body and customize drinks for you. But it was difficult to go to the company and be like, oh, let's go to market like this. So we created a series of teasers of what we could do, prototypes, and then we went to the different athletes that we were already sponsoring, Serena Williams, Usain Bolt, the national team of soccer of Brazil, and a variety of others. And we told them, well, we are sponsoring you, but we would like also to test new products with you. So we gave them this smart bottle with the wearable technologies, and they've been using them for us. We were experimenting, we were prototyping, we were doing innovation, but we were also creating content for communication. Videos like this one, the athletes were becoming our ambassadors, and we were tweaking the product and seeing how the market was reacting to it, how the media were reacting, the influencers were reacting. Then we started to scale it up. We took it to American colleges, to campuses at a bigger scale, and we started to prototype with them. And then about 2.5 years ago, we launched the first product. The bottle was not the smart bottle, it was a normal reusable bottle, but we had the patches and the full ecosystem with the app. And it's been a huge success in the United States. Last year, in the most important, the biggest retailer for sporting goods in the US, Dick's Sporting Goods, that bottle, the normal one, not even the smart one, was the #1 SKUs selling in those stores. More than gymnastic shoes, basketballs, and any kind of gear that they were carrying in the store, the Gatorade bottle was the #1 SKU in terms of sales. And in the past, we were barely present in that channel, you know, with the Gatorade sport drink in the coolers when you were getting out of the store. On the basis of that success, then about 7-8 months ago, we launched also the smart bottle. This is an example, once again, of experimenting, prototyping, scaling up, and even this is just the tip of the iceberg. We know that the future is a future where we will wake up in the morning with some device on our body. Maybe it could be a smartwatch, it could be one of these Oura ring, it could be a patch, it could be even a tattoo that we have in our body. These devices will monitor the way we slept that night. And Alexa or Google Home or whatever intelligence you have in the house will tell you, well, Mauro, I know you didn't sleep very well last night. And I will be like, what do you mean? I thought I slept very, very well. No. She knows more than, you know, that I know. She's been monitoring my body. She knows also my health history. She knows that I'm going to have a very busy day today talking at NASScom. She knows my agenda. She knows everything about me. And she's going to create the drink that I love, because she knows my taste, but also the drink that I need that morning with the right ingredients for that specific moment. And in the near future, she will also 3D print a cookie, a potato chip, a snack with the right ingredients for my what I need. And so this is the future. And we need to, as a company, we're thinking about the future. We are envisioning the future behind the scenes within the company. And then that kind of vision shapes the way we do acquisitions, the way we invest in our own technologies, the way we prototype ideas that eventually sometimes are hidden behind communication, content, with a very clear, by the way, return on investment on that idea. But once again, one of the biggest challenges that we have is the balance between what people need, the functionality, and what people love and desire, and how we engage with them. And this was one of the many examples I could share with you. The third dimension that you work on when you really want to create something that is interesting for people, that people are going to buy and use and love, is what we call the expressive relation. Is that idea of transforming either your product or your brand or both of them in something that people want to brag about, want to talk about, want to share with the rest of the world. As an example, in our world of the consumer goods, is when a brand can be translated to categories that are not the core category of the brand itself. Pepsi is a soda, but eventually become garments. It's something you can wear, it's something you can share. It could be a brand that we associate to fashion products, but any kind of product. Is Pepsi, is Gatorade with Nike, is Cheetos with Forever 21, is garments, but it's also experiences. How can we bring to life those ideas, those products, those brands in ways that are totally unexpected in the physical world, but then also more and more, sorry, went too fast, in the digital world, in the metaverse, and understanding how, for instance, soda brands could be relevant also, sorry, it's going back and forth, could be relevant also in the digital world of the metaverse. Well, anyway, there was a beautiful video of Mountain Dew in the metaverse in that slide. Visceral, interactive, and expressive. This is what we do every time we try to design for people. We try to create something that wow them. They create what we call the emotional impulse purchase. You go with a list of products to buy in a store, and then you just fall in love with something you didn't expect. you take it, you put it in your cart, and you go out. This could be in the physical world and in the digital world. The interactive one is the emotional satisfaction and loyalty. It's the line of people outside of an Apple store to buy the latest Apple product even before they even saw it, just because they are emotionally loyal to the company or the brand that they love. And finally, the expressive one is communication and spontaneous PR. It's people loving so much what you do, they're going to become your ambassadors. They're going to talk about your product, your brand, your solutions to the rest of the world. By the way, this is easy to imagine in the consumer category, but this is true in any category because we're talking to human beings. So in B2B, in my past in 3M, where 75% of the company was business to business, we're applying exactly the same kind of logics. Purchase, repurchase, and recommend are the three dimensions from a business perspective. If you go back to our perspective of innovators, of designers, of entrepreneurs, it's about wowing people. It's about creating the perfect balance between rationality and emotion in the form of double, twofold engagement. And then finally, it's creating pride in those people when they are associated, connected to that specific product and brand. Now, this is one of the many ways we could talk about design thinking and human centricity and how to create products, brands, services, solutions of any kind with the design thinking approach. When I joined for the first time a big corporation like 3M more than 20 years ago, I came in and I brought all my design thinking processes and tools, the technologies that I learned in the years before. And I went in and I was like, okay, now we're going to use this kind of approach and we're going to change the way this tech-driven company does innovation with a very human-centered kind of approach. And so I started, not just by myself. I brought in some of the most renowned innovation and design firms of the world. And we started to work on projects, a few projects, dozens of projects, hundreds of projects. And then I looked back. And I saw that there were many projects that were doing very well, and many others that failed miserably, both in market or eventually even before arriving to market. So I was like, okay, maybe I need to change something in the process. I need to tweak the way we work. And I tried. But again, some projects were working well, and some others were not. And because I needed to scale what I was doing in that company, I needed to figure out what was the key variable that was making the difference between the projects that were working and the projects that were not. And then I arrived to a conclusion that to tell you today here on this stage is so obvious, but back then was not that obvious, and usually in companies is not that obvious either. The difference was all driven by the people that were assigned to the projects. The people in design, in marketing, in R&D, the people in the design or innovation firms were using. If I had people that had the ability to observe the world in the right way, to decodify the information, the insights and the data in the right way, to have the courage and the care and the passion to take ideas and bring them to life, to have the resilience to go against all kinds of roadblocks and difficulties. If I had people with certain kind of characteristics, projects were proceeding in the right direction. If I didn't, they were not. And yet, there was not a scientific, strategic definition of what were those characteristics. So I decided 18 years ago to write them down in a list. And I gave them to HR, I gave them to the recruiters working with us, and I told them, you need to help me finding this kind of people. They became, over the years, the compass for me and for my teams to do everything we're doing in 3M first and then in PepsiCo after. And there are now 24 of these characteristics, 24 characteristics that essentially are all the different areas where we try to grow, to invest for ourselves, for our teams, every day, to grow as innovators. There are some of them that are more obvious than others. Some of them are totally unexpected in the world of innovation. For instance, the obvious one are the ability to dream, to think big. We're all born with that ability. As children, we dream, we fantasize. And then somebody at a certain point tells us, well, dreaming is childish. You should stop dreaming. But we keep dreaming. We go to school, we go to college, we get out of college, we go to these companies, and we think that we can change these companies. We can change the product, we can change the brand, we can change the enterprise, we can even change the industry. But then, once again, we start to meet people in those companies, in the business world that tell us, come on, this is so naive. It's so childish. Some of them even tell us, how can you be so arrogant to think that you can change anything? You know, something has been like this for hundreds of years. You arrive and you think you can change it. And so you start to think that you're wrong, that they are right. You should stop dreaming. You should do whatever everybody else does. But there are a few people that keep dreaming, and those are called innovators. They are the innovators. Now, dreaming is not enough. You may just dream and live in the comfortable zone of dreaming. You need to dream, but you need also to balance that ability to dream with the ability to make things happen, to execute, to move from the dream all the way to practice. Now, when you execute, immediately you will realize that you need to compromise, that you need to take trade-offs. The innovator understands that those trade-offs and compromises are not a compromise on the integrity of the dream, are a step forward towards the dream. But you need to have the dream. If you just trade-offs and compromise without the dream, you go nowhere. Now, this is pretty obvious when you do innovation. In my life, though, there are many other things, many other characteristics that really help me making the difference. For instance, the power of kindness, the power of optimism, the power of curiosity. I will mention these three, I will wrap up, very quickly. The power of curiosity. Innovators are curious by definition. They love to learn. They love to travel, connect with people, read books, and learn. No matter your title, no matter your background, the more different you are, the better you are for an innovator. Innovators love diversity by definition because they know that in the diverse person in front of them, there is the precious gift of knowledge. They know things that you don't know, just because they have a different kind of background. And out of a respectful interaction with them, you can learn. Innovators, they love, by definition, the power of optimism. They are optimistic kind of people because if you innovate, you will face roadblocks every single day. Every single day. If you don't face difficulties every day, you're not innovating anything. It means that something is wrong. You're not changing anything. So innovators need to have that kind of mindset. Now, all of these characteristics, 50%, they are inside you when you are born. Some of us have some of these characteristics more than others. But there is another 50% in each of them that needs to be nurtured through education, through awareness, through constant practice. So even optimism, you can practice. You can become more optimistic. When I have a very, very difficult moment, and I have these moments like any of you, when I have a very, very tough moment, I try to step back. I look at the future, I look at the goal, the dream, and I get so much energy out of it. But I also look at the past. And I learn over the years to appreciate where I come from and the steps that I did to arrive to where I am in the specific moment. I remember also those difficult moments that made me a better person, a better leader, a better designer. And finally, the power of kindness. Kindness that unites, kindness that connects us all, kindness that make our companies more efficient, more productive. They build a synergy that make us drive at the speed of life with great impact and effectiveness. People in love with people, these are the unicorns I talk about, the innovators I talk about. 3 dimensions of love. Love for the people you serve, obsessed with the people we serve. Love for what you do, the passion that you have for what you do. And love for the people around you that you want to take with you in your journey. Innovation is not a one-woman or one-man show, it's a team effort. Thank you.
For more interesting content, like, comment and subscribe to our NASSCOM YouTube channel.